President Trump and Democratic leaders have floated the idea of a $2 trillion infrastructure spending bill. But some agencies aren't waiting for the federal government to take action, especially when it comes to water systems. Contessa Brewer is in Bridgewater, New Jersey, with tonight's look at the state of our nation's infrastructure.
Thousands of dams and levees are on the brink of failure, and the drinking water for millions of Americans is at risk. The nation's water infrastructure system gets a grade of D by the American Society of Civil Engineers, which blames failures in investment, leadership, and planning.
What's required is really good planning.
But New York City's tackling the problem of aging infrastructure. Much of the system is at least a century old, but it's spending nearly $20 billion over 10 years on projects to repair, maintain, and improve the water and wastewater infrastructure. The Delaware Aqueduct brings water from the Catskill Mountains to the city. It's the world's longest tunnel, but it's old.
We have a leak. So we're going through fixing that right now. It provides a capacity of about 900 million gallons a day. And the project altogether is going to cost us about $1.5 billion to get this fix done.
New York City has the money to pay for these kind of repairs because it's operated by an independent water agency that sets the rates customers pay and a finance authority that sells bonds to raise capital money. New York's rates are 15% lower than the national average, in part because there's almost no costs associated with pumping and filtration.
We're definitely the world leader in source water protection.
New York is not alone in trying to stay ahead of the infrastructure curve. American Water is the nation's largest publicly traded water company, operating in 46 states. It's spending $8.5 billion over the next 5 years, upgrading treatment plants, replacing thousands of miles of water mains.
Many of those projects are tied to resiliency with the climate variability that we're starting to see across the nation and in the world, frankly. It's very challenging to make sure that we can get through those climate issues, through those natural disasters, and make sure that we can still sustain service to our customers.
That means investment in flood control barriers and levees, in new reservoirs like this one in Bel Air, Maryland, to collect stormwater when it's available and distribute it during dry times. It means grappling with chemical contaminants showing up coast to coast.
We routinely test for compounds that are not regulated, and we actually install treatment for compounds before they're regulated if we know that they're there.
This complicated task of repairing, improving, maintaining the nation's water systems requires big money. And in fact, an advocacy group, the American Water Works Association, estimates it will take $1 trillion for drinking water alone. And the American Society of Civil Engineers says Americans need to pay rates and fees that accurately reflect the true cost of infrastructure. In Bridgewater, New Jersey, Contessa Brewer, Nightly Business Report.